أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ومولانا محمد المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم بمدحكم ونزاركم مد يا سيدي يا سلطان الأولياء مع شيخ عبد الفايز الداغستاني مد يا سيدي يا سلطان الأولياء مع شيخ محمد نازم الحقاني مد يا سيدي يا سلطان قلوبنا مولانا الشيخ هشام قباني مدد الحق حجة الله المخلص. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أطيعوا الله أطيعوا الرسول وأولي الأمر منكم. And always a reminder for myself, an abdul ajiz or da'if or miskeen or zalim or jahal, and by the grace of Allah still in existence, that we took a path of trying to be nothing, and by Allah's rahmah and mercy we find ourselves in existence. And alhamdulillah, we wanted to share for ourselves always about energy and the importance of energy and sound, and that to open that reality for ourselves of the importance of sound. I mean that in the understanding of attunement we're talking in reference to energy, and people put it into their understanding of Holy Qur'an and Holy Hadith, that these are from the world of malakut. These are from the oceans of iman and maqam ihsan and above, that ahlul turuq, the people of haqqaiq, that what Allah wants, وَقُلُوا مَا صَادِقِينَ اتَّقُوا means have a consciousness and keep the company of the sadiqeen. They are going to dress you and bless you. And in the understanding of attunement they have to break you down and build you back up. Means everybody in their life is vibrating and playing their own drum to their own beat. How the expression is, you drum to your own beat. It doesn't matter what somebody else is playing, you ding 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 to yourself. Everybody's happy with what they're doing and the level in which they are resonating and vibrating. What you eat, what you breathe, what you drink, what you do, how you do, every action is creating an energy. That energy is bringing out lights. These lights are what causes our manifestation. Means that this manifestation is manifesting, you're only seeing this world of form because there's a light. That's the quantum, the atoms, the molecules. Those lights, the colour and the spectrum and the quality of those lights are going to be based on sound. If they vibrate high, the spectrum and the quality of the light is very high. As they begin to emanate lower, the quality is lower, the light and the spectrum of the light is lower. And now mashallah we live in a time where they have so many proofs. They even have the physics of sound, where I recommend everybody to Google and go and watch YouTube on the physics of sound. So you get the whole course in the understanding of sound. They can resonate a sound and it begins to vibrate and make forms. They can play a sound and a machine and a device that picks up that this wood has a certain frequency, where Allah yusabbihu bihamdi, for verily everything is in my praise, everything. Not just the birds are praising, everything. The wood is praising, otherwise you would not see it manifesting. The table, the glass, me, you, our clothes, everything has atoms. These atoms are moving, these molecules are forming from what? From a zikr and the praise that Allah give to it, what they call string theory. Something is moving. When they looked into the atoms with their microscopes, they found that there's a vibration. That's bihamdi. Allah said, verily everything is in my praise. Everything has a zikr which gives it its manifestation, and then Allah says, you won't know except the people of tafakkur. You haven't the ability to hear it. People of tafakkur, when Allah open their heart, their eyes, their soul, the hadith where Allah describing, they come, they finish their fard, they did their voluntary, and I gave them from my hearing, I gave them from my seeing. Means from Allah's dress and sifat upon their hearing, they can hear the praise of what Allah want them to. Direct them to a tree, they can hear the praise of the tree. Direct themselves to a plant, they can hear the praise of the plant. The plant will tell them what its benefit is for, why Allah created it. And that becomes what they call herbal medicine. Not they found something, they read something on the internet and they put it together and then they poisoned 10 people. But the actual herbs and plants talk to them. They have a vibration and a zikr, and if that zikr known into the heart, they'll begin to understand from what Allah want them to understand. But the attunement on how to reach these haqqaiqs is that you come with how you're resonating and what you're thinking. The responsibility of Ibadur Rahman and these guides, not everybody calls themselves a murshid and say, I have murshid, this one is a murshid, this one is a murshid. No, this is a title now everybody uses. These are from Ibadur Rahman, in which Allah give them a very specific light and a very specific responsibility. And one of these responsibilities is on raising the frequency of ihsan. Many are known, many are unknown. You may never even hear them speak, it's not necessary, we'll go into that. They're the Bluetooth awliya, they don't need to say anything. You have the awliya who speak and they vibrate, and the frequency in which they're vibrating means they begin to teach attunement is that they have to bring down and break down that person, not physically but through all their testing and teaching. Completely rechange. How you think is not important, what you want is not important. All of those are creating a resonance in which are vibrating at a different frequency. So we gave an example, there's a master violinist. He makes every violin with his own hand, and as a result of making everything precise, he's a master, he makes everything precise. Then when he puts the chords, and sound has a tremendous reality. There are 7 notes, there are 7 verses of Fatiha, there are 7 tawafs around the Kaaba. Why Allah created these 7 notes? Because within this sound everything is resonating, everything is manifesting by sound. If Allah take the sound, everything collapses. So it has a tremendous reality. Because as soon as they sound, then people say, oh Shaykh, we prayed, that's enough for us. No, these are haqqaiqs and realities to understand where Prophet teaching, who knows himself will know his Lord. That which governs him, if he knows himself, not know himself that he likes tacos and he likes kebabs. So I know myself, Shaykh, I like tacos on Tuesday night and I like kebab on Saturday. Because knowing yourself is very deep. To know yourself you have to go into all the realities with your guide about yourself and your whole physiology of how Allah created you. So then everything that you think and you want to do is making you vibrate at a different beat, and their responsibility to break down. So when Allah gave the daleel of Nabi Musa and Sayyidina Khidr, doesn't mean you're bad. One is Kalimullah and the other one is a Habibullah, is a beloved servant of Allah whom Allah gave a rahmah and then attained a knowledge. But what Allah for this reality, that break him down. And Nabi Musa is coming to Sayyidina Khidr, he's breaking him down. He says, me and you, we're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to have patience with knowledge that is not complete. Why to say that? To Kalimullah, to break now his frequency. what you want of this knowledge and the thought pattern you have, the understanding you have, the responsibility of that guide, break everything down. Everything in his testing to confuse everything, so that you begin to surrender all of that, all of the busy thoughts, all of the questioning, all of the doubt, all of these concerns that you have, taslim. Pray upon your Lord and submit. And everything of Islam is submit. But how you can submit to Allah if you can't even submit to yourself first? You're still struggling with yourself. So then they teach, submit. Why you have to doubt? Why you have to have so many questions? Why you have to say something? Just submit, submit, and you begin to fight and struggle with yourself. No, I want to say something, I want to do something different. I don't want to be like them. If they're all wearing white, I'm going to wear yellow. And if they're all wearing yellow, I'm going to wear red. Just completely keep changing and fighting the self until you can taslim and taslim, until you begin to shut off all your faculties. Then that master violinist, once he puts these strings, he tunes every string with his own hands. As a result of tuning every violin, then they show him put like 30 violins on the shelf. As soon as he plays one, they all vibrate, because he made them, he tuned them, he perfected them. As soon as he plays one chord, they're all resonating on the same chord. As soon as he plays the next chord, they're all resonating. He can play 30 to 40 of them with one he's playing, they're all vibrating. This is just an analogy. That when they break down the character, break down the ego, break down all of that identity, then you begin to taslim. In the ocean of taslim, then they begin to build the student back up. They build the student back up with that muhabbat and with that love that the student has. He begins to take from the shaykh ilm laduni wa hikmati bis salihin, means he's now being breastfed by that reality. When he's taking from his shaykh, he's taking from the two. They say that you can't feed a breast, sorry for this analogy the mother cannot feed from one side, you would be an oppressor to the body. You have to feed from both sides. In ruhaniyat, you're taking from the milk and the reality of the shaykhs. These are, milk represents heavenly knowledges and realities that are coming. And just like the sharia in dunya, that if you put your child onto another woman to drink, that woman becomes a mother for the child, and your children cannot marry from that family. It means Allah want us to understand, when Allah doesn't care the wing of a mosquito for dunya, there must be a deep reality that if that child takes the milk and drinks from her, he's responsible now like a mother, she's a mother for him. So it carries all of its motherly responsibility. What do you think then about the spiritual reality? That once you've been brought down, the ego has been brought down, all of the busyness is brought down, they're going to begin to feed you. And it has to be a balanced feed where they don't just throw out knowledges, but there has to be training on hikmah. Hikmati bis salihin, which now you don't see anywhere, because you hear and see people speak with absolutely no hikmah. They just say things that are irrelevant to the crowd, irrelevant to the audience, and they don't care regardless of what the heart of those people are going to be affected by. The knowledge could be hard and immediately shock everybody in the room and want to leave Islam, or it could be so crazy beyond the capacity of the person to understand, because they take a book and they read it. So then Allah says, no, whom we gave ilm laduni wa hikmati bis salihin, he's been granted the greatest gift of the heavenly presence, because he inherits from lisan as-sadiq al-aliyah. In Surah Al-Maryam Allah describes to inherit from the tongue of the Sadiq al-aliyah, the tongue of the Sadiqs most high, because that tongue gives ilm laduni wa hikmati bis salihin, means you'll be given Divinely knowledges and the wisdom and the character on how to use it. so that that knowledge never harms anyone, never causes a confusion to anyone, but is a means in which to uplift and to raise people. And then begin to teach that when Allah, these are all from the Holy Qur'an and Hadith, when Allah is saying, hold tight to the rope of Allah, habl, ha ba lam, hab, hub. What is hablillah? One understanding from their understandings. The rope of Allah is a hab, is a hub, and the hub points to the lam, means accompany these people who are lovers of Sayyidina Muhammad and they are inheriting from this lisan al-haq. And Allah said, hold tight to them and don't ever separate. They carry hub, they carry from the the oceans of hayat, they carry from the bahr al-qudra, where all of Qur'an is in 30 juz, all 30 juz in Fatiha, all of Fatiha and Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, all of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim in Ba. And those awliyaullah, they carry that Ba, they carry the secret and the reality of Holy Qur'an. And Allah dressed them from the Ha, because they are the people of Hayat, dressed them from the oceans of Hayat, and these are Ahbab al-Nabi, and they are the lovers of that lisan, the tongue of Sayyidina Muhammad. As a result, they are the ropes of Allah on this earth, and Allah says, hold tight to them and never separate. As a result of holding tight to their reality, whatever they're reciting, once they broke your frequency down, they build back your frequency. Means every association with them is building back your frequency to their frequency, not to your frequency. So when you empty your cup, they begin to transmit, whether they're vibrating from their tongue in their teachings or in their zikr. When they make a zikr, the vibration and the energy of their zikr not the same as your zikr. Their vibration is at a speed that not imaginable. We gave that example in Laylatul Qadr. If you just take one of these people of Ahlul Qadr, Allah multiplies their amal by 30,000. Their Allah is 30,000 your Allahs, if you meet one of these Ahlul Qadr from Laylatul Qadr. So it means every zikr they're doing is changing the frequency of your light. So people have to have a little brain, and they see that in science. They see that you can change a frequency and things begin to change. They can take a frequency and they find the frequency of this wood, they play the frequency and this wood shatters. In the old days they had an opera singer who would ooh and the glass would pooh. I mean, we have to understand the science of this, because the science of it is proving it to you. So everything has a sound and a frequency. Those whom their lives are emanating at angelic frequencies, as soon as they're reciting, everything is being shattered. Every falsehood, when Allah describes when the truth comes, falsehood zahukan is perishing. Means that the false level of your energy, that which you listen to, that which you build yourself, that which you are emanating in their presence, zahukan. And we were reading the salawat of Prophet muhi al-qulub wal-mahi, that in the presence of Prophet's energy, mahi means that he's going to devastate every incorrectness. He crushes it with his light as a grand intercession for all creation, because the frequency is what controls. When the frequency and the hamd, and why Prophet is mohammad, is when the hamd of Prophet comes, the vibration of that hamd annihilates everything. Right, the science of it? That if Prophet hamd comes upon you, means make one salawat, Prophet said, I'm going to make 10 salawats upon you. So durood al-sharif means heavy, is going to put you to sleep, this energy. So try to stay awake. Is that this energy, when it hit you upon your being, everything about your frequency will shatter and be rebuilt back up. shattered and be rebuilt back up, rebuilt back up. Now the reality is whether they praise physically or they praise through their heart, Allah wants us to know through technology. You say, Shaykh, how is this possible? How is it possible that you have a television remote and with this television remote you change all the channels of your TV? Because this television remote is an infrared red light, a specific spectrum of light on the red, and the TV has the same device inside of it so the two can communicate. If Toshiba can build that, you don't think Allah builds better? When you resonate at the frequency of the Shaykh and they build you up with these murshids and these guides, they build it within you a specific frequency of light that they are resonating in, and they have the ability to begin to flip the switches inside. They are more powerful than the TV remote. TV remote you change, I can change it to 7, I can change to 13 and don't need the permission of the TV, just click, 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 click. What do you think then about what Allah gives to the heart of His believers? And those whom have control of their energies and their lights, that's the attunement. If you're switching constantly on a different channel because your thought is always going in a different place, that's why the breakdown. Break it down onto which the person is in taslim. They're like the TV waiting for the channels to be changed. Then the frequencies of the shaykhs are coming out. So don't say and don't think it's far or too difficult. How the remote is sending a frequency, their frequencies and their powers are much more powerful, and they're reaching to the heart of people not only in their presence but they can reach them anywhere in dunya. Their light communicates beyond even dunya, beyond space and time cannot confine their energy because they are in the oceans of love. They can talk to those whom passed away thousands of years ago, because the light and the power of light is something that only imaginable. So it means not only they begin to change your frequency, then even in their presence they don't need to speak, and this is what Allah wants us to understand from Bluetooth. Bluetooth technology is that your telephone can be 30 feet away on a speaker, but because the device inside the speaker has an ability through that blue light and blue light technology through your phone, you go like this, all of a sudden the sound from your phone is in the air, nobody can hear it. The speaker hears it and begins to recite. What do you think then about awliya? They're rebuilt by Allah with Bluetooth technology, one on themselves and one on all their students. The one from their self is then from their shaykh. Their shaykh is playing the sobat at that time. He looks through his inventory, we're going to talk about this, ding, right? You are the speaker. When you're in taslim, because he's teaching the student, because he's been taught. When he's in taslim, his ears are submitting, his eyes are submitting, his breath is submitting, his tongue is submitting, everything is submitting. He's like a speaker for them. They merely pick the playlist, and when they play it, that speaker is playing. And at the same time they're training all the students that are in their association, be in taslim, submit, submit. The more you submit, the more that light can come to you, the more that energy can come to you, and they don't even have to say anything. The energy and the frequencies that are emanating from the heart and from their soul is by Bluetooth going and hitting onto your speaker. You may hear it and nobody in the room heard a sound. Isn't that what happens with the speaker? If I play it, nobody heard the salawats going through the phone and going out. But as soon as the speaker heard it, it begins to play it. These technologies, Allah is not that you become Buddh parast and you're worshipping these speakers and these technologies and you walk around with all your phones and all your devices. These devices were meant for us to reach our realities. Allah think, when you see this device, do you see how much power you have? What realities you have? Don't worship Toshiba that made this. Worship me, Allah وَلَقَدْ كَرَمْنَا بَنِي Adam. This donkey form, it has a tremendous power from the world of light, but if you're only using this body to eat, drink and to produce waste, that life has been wasted. But if you reach to the reality of the soul and understand from malakut that these lights are powerful, that attendance into their association not like attendance anywhere else, the frequency in which they're emanating and resonating changes the whole association, and they can do it by lisan or by khafi, by qalb. By khafi much more powerful. The full force of their soul is moving out like Bluetooth, and those that attune themselves, that's why Allah and the ocean of ihtiba and to follow. When you are following loyally and you are in submission, you don't go left and you don't go right, otherwise your speaker is not ever going to be attuned to the right Bluetooth. You're going everywhere. That's why the turuqs they teach that, that's why we asked about the breast milk, is that when you take from somebody you are responsible to that one that you took that knowledge from. That one is like a mother, you have a responsibility, you have now relationship. That's why we don't sit in 50 different associations taking from 50 different mothers, you won't know who's your mother and who's your father. But that loyalty that they want and what they want to teach from us is that it's going to bring the attunement. When you're loyal and you are in tasneem and submitting and you're taking from that milk and from only that reality, you're now being attuned, you're becoming like a speaker. So every frequency that coming from the shaykh is then dressing and you're picking up the frequency and all its realities. We pray that Allah dress us and bless us from these lights and from these nights inshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen bi hurmati Muhammad al-Mustafa wa bi sirri Surat al-Fatiha.
سيدنا النبي سيدنا النبي سيدنا النبي سيدنا النبي